the Rose Bowl. It's got to be an incredible experience for you.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl. It seems loud, but they said talk close. The Rose Bowl is the granddaddy of them all. We're real excited. There's a lot of history with this game and this program, so we're looking forward to add to that.
Talk about the program a little bit. You guys have had a history in this bowl game, but unfortunately, you lost last year. You guys kind of talked about righting the ship a little bit and going in that direction, getting a win on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. We have a chance to etch our place in history with our program by becoming Rose Bowl champions. So that's something that we've talked about, ever since we figured out we were coming to the Rose Bowl.
You talked about what you're going to do next, but I know you're not making any decisions. But are you kind of taking a step back and enjoying this moment a little bit in case you do leave?
Oh yeah, whenever we're doing non-football activities, I'm there 100%, enjoying it. But when we're in between those lines, I'm all in on football because we do have a job to do in the first.
Jonathan, can you kind of walk me through what this last month has been like going from that Big Ten championship loss to this moment?
It's been a lot, especially it sucks when you get to that opportunity, you earn the right to play in the Big Ten championship, you fall short. Obviously you want to become a Big Ten champion, figure out you're going to the Rose Bowl, and then, you know, especially with the rich tradition of the program, with the Rose Bowl. Once we found out we were coming here, it was kind of not easy to transition, but it made the transition a little bit easier after that tough loss.
And you've been a part of bowl games in the past. How does this one compare, and what has the experience been like?
This experience is something different just because you know the magnitude and the significance of the game, and that's what you hear about. Usually guys talk about the events all week for a bowl game, but really, everyone talks about the game is the best part of the Rose Bowl. You have a lot of great experiences throughout the week, but it's the game that's most memorable.
What are you looking forward to the most?
The game.
Just about that game day experience in general.
Really just looking forward to seeing a crowd out there. They say it should be a split crowd. Should see half green, half red, and it's going to be a good one.
Anything?
Really preparing for great hands. Those guys do a great job of using their hands to get off of blocks. Probably one of the best defenses we've seen all year use their hands. Really, the biggest thing is their team speed. So we got to make sure, as a running back specifically, when you make a decision, you have to make it full speed because they can cover a lot of ground. But this experience, yeah, this is my first Rose Bowl experience. Really, like I said, there's been a lot of great activities we were able to do throughout the week. But all I keep hearing from coaches and people who have been in this position before is that, just be ready for the game because that's going to be the most memorable experience.
Jonathan, I know how much pride you take in being a Badgers running back and the guys that were here before you. Some of their best moments came in bowl games. You look at what Melvin did in the Outback Bowl, what Ron did here at the Rose Bowl. What are you trying to do as far as building your legacy and capping it off the right way?
One of the biggest things I'm trying to do is become a Rose Bowl champion. I think that'll really etch this team in a place in history and the Wisconsin Badgers program. So that's number one on my list.
Just how about taking pride in this opportunity that you have in front of you? What are you looking forward to the most about the opportunity and also the challenge that you have in this Oregon team?
That's the big thing. Looking forward to the challenge. You come to play Division I football to play against the best. We have an opportunity to play against one of the best teams in the country, and this is the things you thrive for. When you come and play Division I ball. Thank you. Wait a minute. Wow, you really got to talk close. Oh, he really runs downhill north and south, and he has great speed. I saw that he's able to break a lot of tackles, and that's what you want to be as a running back. As a running back, you want to be able to get yards after contact. I feel like he does a great job at that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. When I was watching him, kind of like he runs angry. He's trying to run through guys. He's trying to make everyone miss. I mean, he does not want to go down. Really, I think it's the way that we try to stay on our feet. I noticed that he doesn't really like to go down as much. He's going to fight for every single yard. Really, their use of hands. They're really good with their hands. So, even if you use great technique, they can still beat you. So you really got to make sure that you're using great technique every single snap, every single play. Thank you. Oh, I feel great about the decision. I mean, we earned the right to play in the Big Ten championship. Fell short, but doing so, we earned the right to play in a bowl game. So I definitely think it was the right decision. Oh, they over there. Good, good. Oh yeah, I was able to catch some of the Clemson Ohio game because they had like activities for us during the time, but some guys were able to have it on their phones and stuff. No, I thought it was a great game. We knew it was going to be a hard fought game. I mean, Clemson and O State, they're two tough teams. They got elite players on both sides of the ball for both teams. So I thought it was a great game. Really, I think the biggest thing is, it's always a different style team. When you're playing a different style team, you got to make sure you prepare for everything. And especially with O State going against Clemson, they knew it was going to be come down to those one-on-one matchups. When you got talent, elite talent on each side of both teams, it's going to come down to those one-on-one matchups when the ball's in the air, whether it's one-on-one in space, who's going to make the play. Really, the biggest thing is try to become a Rose Bowl champion. I think that'll really, etch our place in history with our program, the Wisconsin Badgers program. And if we can come away with a win, that'll definitely etch our place in history. Really, you got to attack them head on. Those guys have a lot of speed on defense. They can cover a lot of ground. So the best thing you can do is when you make a decision, you make it full speed, and they'll use their speed to try to rally to you. But I think that's the biggest thing is making decisions full speed. I think just being able to develop over time, especially at the end of the season, being able to evaluate what you've done well and what you haven't done well, and then finding ways to improve, especially on the things that you haven't done well. Really what it does, it just shows me that you have to work even harder. You've accomplished something, and now you have to move on to the next. You can't stay complacent. You say what? Oh, really coming in as a freshman, just wanted to be a sponge and soak up everything, any piece of coaching that I've had, in order so that when I got in, if my number was called, I'd be ready to go. Oh, 6,000 yards, I mean, it's definitely not easy. And you look at the guys who've accomplished 6,000 yards, they're some of the best to ever run the ball. So, being able to do that is definitely something special. And, I'm glad I'm able to share it with the guys around me. Really, all my family who's coming out here, I appreciate you guys. The guys who can't get out here, I know it's very expensive to travel all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast, but I know you guys are supporting from back home. Oh, really just about my own legacy. Just trying to continue to take it day by day. Whenever you get complacent on what you've done, that's when you kind of start to fall off. So you always got to continue to stay hungry and be ready to get better and find ways to work.
I saw you mention the other day, Reggie Bush and McCaffrey. What do you think a big moment for you could kind of
I think it would definitely help. I would like to have games like those guys how they had in the Rose Bowl. We'll have to wait and see.
Hey, how's the week been? Have you had step back and be like, oh my god, I'm here?
Oh yeah, we've had some times to step back and do that. Like we had a lot of events planned for us that wasn't football wise, and I think that's the biggest thing is when you're doing those events, be all in, and then when it's time for football, when it's time to work, be all into that because you still have a job to do on the first.
What's your favorite activity so far? A lot of guys have said like Disneyland's really cool.
Yeah, because it was like this Star Wars ride at Disney World, but you got to like control the ship, and when you're controlling it in some games, it's like you can see that you're not really controlling it, but that one it was like you really were. You could see like if you went left, the whole thing went left, so it was pretty fun.
So in terms of this game, what would it mean, do you think, for this program for Coach Alvarez and Chris to be involved in the
Come out with a win, we'd etch our place in history with our program. Just because of the history that we have with this program, I think it'll really be huge. It'll be huge not only for us as a team, but us as a program and Badger Nation.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
When you watch Oregon fans, I know you said they're fast and they're good and they have a lot of growth. But is there one guy in particular that kind of jumps off the screen to you or anybody that you could really catch your eye?
Yeah, Die especially 35 with the he does a specifically great job with his hands and being able to cover a lot of ground.
What makes him special, you think?
Really, I think it's just his use of hands and his overall speed to be able to close ground quickly.
Awesome. And then I heard you talking about TJ Burnell. Just when you describe how he plays, is it all similar to how you play?
Yeah, you can tell he doesn't like to go down. He wants to fight for every single yard, and I feel like that's how you have to be as a runner.
Last thing for me, I know you mentioned the decision that you made to play in this game. How much was it a decision? Was it something that you knew you were going to do right away, or did it take some time to kind of get there? How was the process?
Well, really, we earned the right to play in the Big Ten championship, and in doing so, we also earned the right to play in a bowl game. So we earned it together. It's only right that we finish out the season together.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, because that was recently that California just did that. I think it's big. I think it's going to drastically change, the college football world. But I do think that, they're definitely going to slow walk it, just try to implement different rules and things like that. So it's not really will become corrupt. They're going to try to weed out as much, negativity as possible to make it like a clean, smooth system. So I think it'll definitely take some time to play out.
If you're king for the day, or kind of the NCAA, how would you, what would you like to roll it out?
Really, I would have to put together a team with people who know a lot about finances and how money works to figure out an efficient way to do it, because you would definitely love people to capitalize on the hard work that they've had, but you also want to do it in the right way. So I would definitely have to put together a team of financial people and things like that who would understand the rules and be able to create a clean system.
And I guess early in the game, are there some things about Oregon that you see that they do that they almost look like a Big Ten team?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, the way that they get off of blocks. There's a lot of Big Ten teams who can get off of blocks in certain ways. So a lot of guys are block destruction. They're able to, come down full speed, just hit you in the mouth and be able to get off a block. Some other Big Ten teams are able to be really good with their hands and get off of blocks. I feel like Oregon does a great job of using their hands. Even if you're using great technique, they still find a way to somehow, displace your hands and be able to shed blocks. Yeah, definitely. You never play a perfect game. That's why you can continue to work and strive in order to try one day accomplish a perfect game. Yeah, it was in the off season. Really, I think I define my approach as consistent. I think that's the biggest thing. I wanted to come in here and be a guy who you knew what you were getting out of him each and every single week, game, practice, no matter what's going on. I think that was the biggest thing, because you see a lot of guys who are, excellent for 1 year and then you kind of don't hear about them. But I wanted to be a guy who was constant, and always someone who was always there. Well, I think the biggest thing is you understand that, even in high school, you were, getting offers and, you're doing well on the field, but you still had 10 other guys on the field with you. So, nothing here that anybody here hasn't done anything alone. Otherwise, they'd be up for every award, for every position, and, you'd be the number one picks. And I think that's just, you got to realize that it wasn't 1 on 11. It's 11 on 11. Yeah, I definitely connected with them. And one of the biggest things, they always say, just do what you do, but, come with an edge. just know that they're going to be looking to trying to stop you. There's nothing going to pop out on these guys. You're not going to surprise these guys. Everyone knows, really kind of the MO, the basic MO of what we're going to do. But the thing is, they still have to stop it. They still have to stop you. You've been working all offseason. They've been working all offseason. When it comes down to those one-on-one matchups, make sure you come up with the win.
And then on, they move their defensive front so much, the stem, the slide. How is that for you communication-wise in this game with that?
It's going to be huge. We're going to have to make sure that everyone has their eyes open, everyone's communicating, everyone's talking. With defense moving like that, you got to make sure that you're on your P's and Q's because one mistake and the play could be disastrous.
Which guy told you to come with an edge?
No, yeah, Melvin. Thank you. Oh no, because they played yesterday. I did just shoot them a message yesterday, but because they had played recently. Because today's Monday, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Yep, today. Okay.
It's at the point where I have no idea what day of the week it is. So you're off the hook on that.
What, obviously you guys have been having a business trip in the past. Put all that other stuff together. How does that add to your experience?
I think it adds a lot, just because when you're doing those events, Coach always talks about be all in, have fun, enjoy them. That's why you're here. You've earned the right to be here. And then when we step in between the lines, then you can kind of switch that focus and be all in it there to prepare because on the first, you still have to be able to play your best game on the first. So I think that's just the biggest thing is kind of letting loose, kind of not forgetting about football, but, just really being in the moment when we're doing those off-field events and, really having a good time. It's a huge part. You play as many games as we do, and especially you earn a right to play in a bowl game. You got to make sure in the offseason you prepare your body for this long stretch. I think that's one of the biggest things people don't understand is that when you have a season like this and when you play, as physical as we do, you have to do that training and preparation before the season. And it's not really during the season, but during the season, you do what you can to maintain that. Stay in the weight room, try to get lifts in, try to do as much recovery as you can to maintain.
Coach Settle said that goes back to before you were on campus, that you were communicating with the strength staff to be ready going into that first training camp.
Yeah, coming in from high school, training program is going to be way different than what you were doing in high school. So doing whatever I could to try to be as most prepared as possible before I stepped foot in there. I knew that it was still going to be different, but just try to do what I can before I got there.
Looking back, when do you feel like, because Coach Settle was saying that you kind of caught the staff off guard. They didn't think you were going to have as big a role as you'd end up having as a freshman. Was there a moment where I can do this, I've earned this?
Yeah, I think it was my very first game, my very first play when I got in the huddle, and Tyler Biotish and the offensive line, they said, "Don't worry, JT, we have your back." That's when I knew everything would be fine. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew that we were all in it together. Thank you. How you doing?
I know you don't remember, but I was at the South Florida game.
Oh, okay.
I asked you about how many carries was enough. Ironically, that was your fewest carries the whole year was the USF game, so you got the rock a little bit more. But how did the year end up for you? Was it what you envisioned? Obviously, one big part of the playoff, but I guess the Rose Bowl's the next best thing.
Yeah, one of the biggest things is, we wanted to accomplish a Big Ten championship, so we earned the right to be there. Fell short, which was tough, and then kind of didn't know where the rankings were going to land at, whether we were going to be here in the Rose Bowl or not. This depending on the decision with Penn State. Fortunately enough, they voted us in and they allowed us to come here to Pasadena. It's an honor to be here, and we really want to attack this head first, especially with the tradition and the history of this game with our program. We want to make sure that we do our best to etch our name in our school's history and become Rose Bowl champions.
So it was pretty much you were Penn State. One of you guys were coming here, and the other team was going to go to the Cotton Bowl. So where were you watching the show? Did you guys have a team function, or were you guys on your own that Sunday watching the pairings when they came out?
No, yeah, guys were just all on their own. Like everybody wasn't together, but you have social media nowadays, so once it comes out, everybody's able to know in an instant.
Where were you
No, I was in the middle of traveling. I was in the middle of traveling.
So what was your reaction? Because it was either nothing against Dallas, the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot about the Cotton Bowl. I mean, guys on this team has been there. They said it was an excellent experience. So really, either way, for me, it was really. I just hope that you know we go in there and we come out with a win. Especially coming off a loss. But once once we found out that there was a Rose Bowl, then kind of like, wow. I mean, we have a chance to do something big here, and it kind of caught me off guard just because I'm like, this is really a huge opportunity at hand. It's very rarely you get two huge opportunities in a row.
What is there any simple reason or factor to what happened in the second half against Ohio State that kind of flipped it? Because you guys looked to be in pretty good control. They scored late in the first half, and you guys come down, answer right back. You're like, wow, man, this is good in the second half. Looking back at it now, what do you think the difference is?
Yeah, I think we had to do a better job at being more consistent. In the second half, kind of missed some pressures in the run game and the pass game. But we did a great job at picking up some of those protections beforehand, some of those pressures beforehand. So I just felt as though we didn't do a good job as being as consistent in the second half.
How much do you know about Oregon defense?
Yeah, really like to shift, stem, and move the defense a lot. But one of the biggest things, they're really good with their hands. They're able to shut off blocks. They're able to make guys miss with their hands, and I think that's going to be a big thing for us because we got to use great technique.
They remind you of anybody you faced this year?
Um, yeah, similar. It's a kind of a mix-up, especially with the team speed, kind of the O State team speed. I feel like Purdue linebackers did a great job of using their hands and being able to get off blocks. So it's kind of a mix-up of a bunch of different teams. Thank you. Thank you very much. I get to move. Oh, they got everybody at tables. Jay Fur and Bucko over there. I might as well get a sip. Oh, they just took a picture. Thank you. Okay, Grosh. I think it was huge just because you see the significance of the Rose Bowl in our program that they brought that team from 20 years ago back, to honor those guys. So I think that was a big thing, and now we really understand that we have a chance, like you said, to etch our name in history in our program. Huge. Gonna be huge. AC in the building. I got the wow.
Wisconsin has become such a regular in these New Year's Eve schools. What do you think the playoff?
I think one of the biggest things is we got to make sure that we're playing our best ball at the end of the year. We did a good job at that in November. Especially coming off that 2-game losing streak. We did a good job at fighting hard through November to earn a right in the Big Ten championship. But really, that's when you got to make sure you find small ways to turn it up a notch. Whether you're watching a little more film or you're just doing an extra workout. I think that's the biggest thing is you fight hard through November. But once you get to that postseason, you got to just find a way to turn that notch up just one more.
And when you got to Madison, did you ever think that this was kind of legacy that you created for yourself?
Really, just coming in as a freshman, wanted to be a sponge and soak up everything so that if or when my number was called, that I'd be ready to go in and wouldn't be a drop-off.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, they taking a pick. They are licking it up.
You want me to bring anyone up here to hang out with you or anything?
Oh no, I'm just looking to see them. They like, I'm just looking at them.
What's your pose? Have you posed with it yet?
Not yet. I think that's only some people, cause some people went over there and talked to who's over there? Yep, Big Ten. Yeah, some people went over there and talked to them.
Sure, if you want to jump up, you can go over there.
It's okay.
We
I
can
let them
do it
turn.
on Wednesday.
Aha, they tried to smell it.
Have you guys gotten inside the stadium yet?
We will after this. After this, we will. We should. I think that's where our walkthrough is. I think it should be.
It's pretty cool. It's quite an experience. What have you done with some of your free time around town?
Went to Smash Burger. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Roscoe's?
Went to Roscoe. I thought I got the Sco's one. It was like 3 or 2 pieces of chicken, waffles.
The waffle's better than the chicken.
Yeah, the waffles. That when you let the syrup soak in, went crazy. What else did I do? We went to that ice skating ring by LA Live. It's like by the big Christmas tree. We went there.
You
Hollywood.
actually go skating?
I didn't know. I didn't go skating. I went to Hollywood. I didn't know the stars were everywhere.
Yeah.
I thought it was like,
It's a lot less special when you see it in person.
okay, I thought it was like one spot with stars. I didn't know it was just like the whole thing. So that was different. Cause I'm walking, I'm like, what the heck? They're everywhere.
There's a ton of like no-name people where you're just like, is this that special?
Yeah, it was different. It was way different than what I thought.
Yeah.
That was very different than what I thought.
I'm hoping to get you and Melvin together at the pep rally if it works out. But
Okay.
if not, I'll get you right now.
Okay.
What has it been like for you to watch Melvin play this year, and what did you appreciate so much about watching him in that uniform?
Really, I think the biggest thing is he's a playmaker. He doesn't want to go down easy, and I think that's what you try to do as a runner. I feel like to be a great runner, you got to have that edge and trying to not go down as easy, and you got to be a playmaker. When it comes down to those one-on-one matchups, the O-line does a great job at getting you in space where you need to be. Then it's up to you to make that one guy miss.
And do you have much of a relationship with him? I know you had mentioned Corey, and you have a good relationship. But have you guys discussed kind of the moment and what to expect in this game?
Yeah, one of the biggest things he says in those big games, you got to have an edge. You try to not be too high, not be too low in any game. But he said in those big games, you want to do the same thing, but still when you step on that field, have an edge. Be able to run and know that, hey, this is a big time opportunity, and you're going to take advantage of it.
He took advantage of his bowl opportunity in the Outback Bowl against Auburn. If this is the last game for you at Wisconsin, are you going to really try and make sure that this is one that you make remember?
Yeah, one of the biggest things, going to do everything I can to try to become a Rose Bowl champion. I feel like that'll etch our place in our program's history of us being Rose Bowl champions.
What are you looking forward to the most when you step on that field?
Really just looking at the crowd and taking it all in. I hear all week that the best part about the entire experience is the game, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Hey, Jonathan.
I think on the Roosevelt Instagram, basically you do a happy New Year's to your opponents and to the fans back in Madison, and just any shout outs you want to give, maybe a New Year's resolution.
Okay. Happy New Year's, Badger fans back at Madison. Also want to give a happy holidays to everyone back home in Salem, New Jersey. I know you guys are supporting me through thick and thin, through everything, and I just want to say, love you guys. New Year's resolution is going to try to stay consistent as much as possible. That's what's gotten me this far.
Hey, one of the things, so I know that the Rose Bowl game is really ingrained in Wisconsin culture. What has this experience been like for you? Obviously, there's days that build up to the actual game. What does it mean for you? What does it mean to your team?
It means a lot, especially when you just mentioned the rich history of our program with the Rose Bowl. And I feel like, coming away with a win, on January 1st will really etch our place in history in our program. No, thank you.
What do you see on film from Oregon's defense and how they try to attack the run? 23 kids.
Yeah, really, I think the biggest thing on Oregon's defense is they do a great job at using their hands. So, we got to make sure we're using great technique, and even then, they still can beat you with their hands. So, the best thing you can do is make sure that you're on with your technique every single play.
All right, thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
We're gonna get you over to grab your bag and stuff.
Yeah.
Teasing you and I'll be next to that trophy. The whole
Now, hopefully, we come away with it all.
One question, go.